Okay, so we're just going to do a quick video on how to do an image trace in Illustrator and or how to try and make the same sort of shape using the drawing tools that are in Illustrator. So let's jump in and see how we go. So I've done a search for flower clip art. I found a basic flower here, which we can, obviously there might be copyright laws on that, but we can use this as a bit of a basis for our learning, and we can go from there. Okay, so I have right-clicked and then gone Save Image As, and then save that image into my Pictures folder, which we're then going to use as a bit of a basis. So let's minimize this down. Okay, so I've opened up Illustrator now. This is what I'm greeted with. Yours might be slightly different. You might have the window that pops up asking you for various things, but you can sort of close that. So we're going to create new file. So it might come up with this window. As a default, I've sort of made my pages roughly 600 by 300 millimeters. That's the same size as some of the sheets of material that we work with. So over here, you can write the width as 600, the height as 300. Make sure that it's a landscape. The color mode is RGB. That's important to make sure it's RGB. Raster effects I've left at high at 300, and preview mode is default, and click on create. And that should open up a blank artboard for you to work on. So if we do the image trace, we're going to go File. We're going to go down here to Place. Go to our images, find the image that we've got, and go Place. And pop that on a page. Now you can see that the size of that is 250 millimeters, or 259 by 245. So you might want to make that a little bit smaller. So for us, we're looking at making that potentially into earrings. So we want something that's like 40 millimeters maybe. Press enter. And you can do one at this size and then sort of see how it looks, and then you can potentially change it somewhere else. Now don't forget it's hard to see on the white page, but if you move it off, you can see that there is a white background, which we also need to remove that as well. So we've got our icon there. We're going to use the Control+ key to zoom in. And then we've got a thing here called Image Trace. Mine sits at the bottom here. To dismiss this, you might also have it on the side here. If you can't find it, you should be able to go down into Window and go to Image Trace and bring it up there. So I'm going to click on Image Trace. I've just used the basic default settings, but I want to click on Expand, which is either there or it's in this toolbar at the top here, and we want to expand that. And if you haven't got this toolbar at the top, you can actually go to your Window, Toolbars, and go to Advanced, and it should put this toolbar at the top there for you. Okay, so it's all in black at the moment. Okay, don't panic about that too much. We're going to right click on that and ungroup that, because at the moment there's still all the patterns that are in there. Now if we click on this outside shape, we should be able to delete that box. And if we click on that shape, you can see that we've got a fill there. We don't want any fills in our thing, we only want the outlines. So we're going to turn off the fill. You can see that we've got the two outlines that we actually want. We've just got to recolor those. So now we're going to go to the outline, which is this box here. Click on that. Click on the red, and then we're going to need to change that red so that it's 100% red, which in this case is the value of 255. We need to make the green 0 and the blue 0. And then we need to make what's called the stroke 0.01 millimeters. Okay. Then we're going to go down, we're going to select that circle in the middle, we're going to give that a color value. Make sure again that it's 255 in the red, 0 in the green, 0 in the blue. And then again over here, 0.01, and do that. Now we do have something a bit odd going on up in that corner. Let's see if we can see what's going on here. Not sure why that is there. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay. Let's see if we can release the compound path off of this. And and delete that. I'm going to see if we can. I think I'm not quite sure why we've got that other little part in there. We might have to see how that goes. You could try looking at the layers and see if you can pick up what's going on. Like that layer there is just the circle, that layer is there is just that. So I'm not quite sure why we've got that there. But you can drag that back and put it back over the center. The path there looks good, so not quite sure why we've got that big red bleed there. There's no other path except for our shape. I change that to green. Yeah, that's strange. Okay, anyway, let's move on. All right, so essentially to laser cut, that is what you need. That's the process of image trace and the reds that you need to do that. Once you've got all that, regroup that. So go right click and go group, and that way when you move one thing or another, everything moves together. Okay. So that's that way of doing it. What they've got, it looks like it's basically 5 circles that you could potentially try and join up. You could use a star. So this is the star tool that I did earlier. Make sure it's 5 points. Try and do that. And then use your arrow keys there to change the shape by grabbing those little points and try and make the shape look like what you've got over here. You can grab this one here and they'll change the size of those. Won't be quite the same. If you zoom up, like, try to make it a little bit bigger. Oop. So it's the same size. And then we can mess around with these a bit more. That circle go, there we go. So it's something like that. Okay, and then you go back into there again, go to the ellipse tool, and then if you put it in the center, or you can just draw it off to the side, make a circle, say 20 by 20. Click OK. It's a little bit big. So I'm going to move that down a little bit. Grab that. And we can move that down a little bit further. Something like that. So you can do that. We can then go group all that together. So right click, group, hold down your shift key, and you can make it a bit bigger. Or I think the other way that they've done it is like done a heap of circles. So say 20 by 20, not going to be that big. Maybe it was 15 by 15. Go for that. And then they've basically done those in a bit of a pattern. So I think we've got like sort of the circles are a little bit overlapping. And they've tried to draw something, a little bit like that. And they might have had the other middle circle in there to give them a good basis of what they're wanting to do. Oh, that's close. And then from there, I think you can go down into your Pathfinder, and you can use that to make a different shape that's in there. So let's try selecting all of our circles. Oh, that's close. And then delete out that middle bit. So then I think they've gone, you can go release compound path, delete that out, get another circle, make that like 10 by 10, and then you can use the arrow tool That was pretty rough, but you can see how this one matches up to that a little bit better than the star, but you just got to get the circles in the right spot. Obviously, I messed them up a little bit there, but you could fiddle around with that and come up with something like that. So there you go. There's a few different ways of making a flower shape. Make sure that essentially that your stroke is that RGB red, 0.01 millimeters. If you need to set Illustrator into millimeters, go to Edit, Preferences, Units, and then change the general and the stroke into millimeters. The top two there into millimeters. Leave the type as points. Go from there. All right. Best of luck.